If you've ever tried watercolor, raise your hand. If you've heard of gouache, raise your hand. If you've ever been nervous or intimidated to try gouache, raise your hand. I was definitely in that boat of feeling intimidated and nervous about using gouache. As you all know, I created this video back in 2021 or so, and then I didn't touch it again for 2 years. I was so scared of wasting my paints. I was nervous about not getting it right, and yeah. If you were in that boat, or if you are in that boat, please watch this video because I'm going to tell you 10 reasons why you're going to love gouache, especially if you love watercolor. And even if you don't love watercolor, maybe you're at least familiar with it and you're curious about gouache. Hi, my name is Audrey, your watercolor bestie. Welcome to my studio. So let's get into it. These reasons are in no particular order, but here's reason number 1, the versatility. So watercolors is beautiful because even though it's transparent, you can actually build up layers, build up the value to make it more opaque. And there are some watercolor paints that tend to be more opaque than others. I don't have time to go into all of that, but there are. So if you're the type that likes a little bit more of that opaque look, then you're gonna love gouache. Next, blending. If you love how watercolors kind of like bleeds into each other, or you're able to just blend it really effortlessly, then you're gonna love gouache because gouache is also a water-based medium. While it might not spread as spontaneously as watercolors, or you might have to work a little bit harder at learning how to blend gouache, it's still going to behave somewhat similarly. This next reason I totally agree with because it's one of the reasons I love gouache. You can reactivate it with water very easily. I've used this ceramic palette since day 30 of my 100-day project. And sure, every once in a while, I will clean out one of the colors if I wanted to use a completely different color. But for the most part, all I did was just add to it or spritz some water into it and then just reuse it. This reason is one of the reasons why I'm too scared to use acrylic gouache. But I'll get there. Reason number 4, you can layer just like watercolors. So because you can water down gouache into lighter values, you can then add layers to build up value just like watercolors. Another advantage that you have in gouache versus watercolors is that because they're opaque, you can put a lighter color on top of a darker color. Another reason why you might love gouache is because of its finish. So watercolors tend to be more luminous and more bright. Because gouache is opaque, it will have a more matte look to it. But even that matte surface, it's not like it looks dull or flat, but especially if you use, bright colors or something, it's gonna have this like pop kind of look, Next, gouache is very easy to clean. Again, I've cleaned this palette maybe once or twice, just one of the colors every now and then. And all I do is just run it, add some water to it to let the paint reactivate. And then I just take a thick wad of paper towel and just literally kind of scoop it out. And then that's it. I might need to clean it up a little bit more on the edges with a wet paper towel, but otherwise it's super easy. Everything's non-toxic. It can all go down the drain. Easy cleanup. Another reason why you might love gouache if you love watercolor is because it dries pretty fast. Again, you're not using a lot of water, so it kind of soaks into the paper a little bit faster. But sometimes I will still use a hairdryer like I did in my live streams just to speed up the process. But unlike watercolors, where if you use a blow dryer on a really wet watercolor runny area, like a puddle of water, then if you put a blow dryer to it, the paint is going to spread everywhere. Whereas with gouache, it's not going to be a giant puddle of paint, so it kind of just stays put as you're drying it with your blow dryer. Next, if you love watercolors, you're going to love just how vibrant, how bright gouache colors are. Especially my favorite, the Holbein brand. Each color is just bam, in your face. It's so beautiful. Even when you mix white, even when you mix black, It just creates this beautiful finish of a color. It looks velvety soft. It's creamy to work with. These colors just can't be beat. This is the 48 color Iridori set that are set in the season. So spring, summer, fall, winter. Yeah, just look at these colors. Super vibrant, super rich. These colors are just can't be beat. Next, if you love watercolors, then you're gonna love gouache because you don't really have to buy that many more supplies. You can use the same brushes, the same ceramic palette, the same paper. Having a mixing palette like this is nice, but not necessary. So a lot of your supplies will be transferable to gouache. Another reason is that you can correct mistakes just like watercolor. Because you can reactivate it with water, you can quickly, add water, scrub it off and then pick it up with a damp paper towel. You can also just use a scrubber. Another great advantage is that because they're opaque, you can just paint right on top of it if you don't like it instead of trying to erase it. But if you're used to, lifting like you would in watercolors, then the good news is that you can still do that with gouache too. Now, some colors are still a bit more staining than others, so just watch out for that. And lastly, it's just really great for illustrations. I use watercolor for a lot of my illustrations, like of my birds and sea creatures and definitely florals. But when I painted these fruit patterns with gouache, they were just as fun and enjoyable to work with. It's really easy to kind of color in a sketch because the paint consistency is a little bit thicker and you can control the paint and where it goes a little bit more than watercolor. Well, there you have it. So whether you love watercolor and you're an enthusiast, or even if you're not, gouache really offers so many unique qualities that I think you're gonna have so much fun playing around with. And if you're curious about what colors you should get or how to get started, please stay tuned because I will come out with a lot more videos on just that so that you start your gouache journey on the right foot. Please subscribe to my channel. Please like this video. Comment below and let me know if you're a watercolor artist or if you use gouache, how you use them, if you use them together. And if you're a watercolor artist like me who has fallen in love with gouache, just let me know. Say hi so that we can connect and root each other on in our creative journeys. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.